We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. Metro's Vice Mayor, Jim Shulman's with us. Just in case, because there's always people that tune in for the first time and, well, they hear Vice Mayor, they think they know what it means, but just remind them what that is in terms of, we have a mayor, we have vice mayor, we have council members.
Right.
You're part of the council, but you're the vice mayor.
So what it simply means is that I run the council meetings. So I only vote in case of a tie. But basically, I'm in charge of making sure that the council operates. So that includes working with the council staff, working with the metropolitan clerk, and then working with the council members to make sure that the whole meetings flow and, you know, bills are brought up like they're supposed to, and that we have a good discussion on those bills.
How often do you get ties where you vote?
So far, none.
Yeah.
I mean,
so he's like the vice president in the U.S. Senate, where there's a tie. The vice president comes in and breaks that. So you don't vote, but you help administrate and run that. Of course, you've been a council member before then when you did vote. So good. Just wanted to clarify that. So it kind of helps run the show. Hey, we have Bartholomew who waited through the break. Good morning, Bartholomew. What's on your mind? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. It's kind of fuzzy on your connection there.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. What's your comment? We need to see. Do you have a better connection? Because we can barely hear you.
Oh, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the question I have for the Vice Mayor is the affordable house. With all the building and stuff that's going up in the East Nashville area, and most of the housing is going up, how is it affordable for the low-income family if the initial rent is above the average income of the family?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and he had contacted me on Facebook, and I suggested, hey, call in and let's. And I think he makes a point a lot of people are seeing, especially in East Nashville, where it's disappearing, the affordable housing there. And where are these people going to go? And can homes be built there that maybe accommodate them as well?
Well, so obviously we have an affordable housing crisis in Nashville. This is not good. It's not been good for a while. You see all the development going up, all the stuff going on in East Nashville, North Nashville, everywhere. I was driving down West End, and I'm seeing buildings that I didn't even see last week that are up.
I know. So fast.
I'm not sure exactly what the answer is. Obviously, we need more affordable housing. How do we get that? We're not sure. We're looking at it, but I'm not sure how we keep up with the demand. It's really amazing.
So does that mean people that don't have that income, and we see this more and more, have to move a little farther outside the city then?
Well, so I think the concern overall is that, if all this new development is pushing people out, then people are moving further and further out. You see it in terms of where people are moving to. You see it in terms of the schools, because kids are moving further out to further schools that are outside, that are in the county but further outside of Nashville. Or, I just saw a story where some people in Nashville are moving outside of the county so they can be close, but they don't have to deal with Davidson County, or they don't have to deal with downtown traffic. They're moving outside further away, either for cost of living, or they just don't want to be around all the new development that's going on. Nick, I think we have money in the Barnes Fund. I know that. That's the affordable housing thing. I mean, to me, the answer to affordable housing is building affordable housing. Now, you can wait. I mean, at some point there is so much building going on that you think that if we ever hit a downturn in the economy and everything slows down, that we may have too much. The supply will be too much, and that will bring the cost of living down. But I think people are dealing with it right now. Obviously, you've got all this gentrification going on. So I've always thought that what you have to do is Metro has to, as much as I don't necessarily want to say this, but I think they're going to have to get in the affordable housing building, which means providing land and development and finding people who will build affordable housing in Nashville, probably on Metro land that we have that we're not using, and then in some way control the cost of it. Because if you just turn it over, the cost of living is going so high that people can't afford to live.
Can you put, when you do the permitting, and I guess this has happened with some of the big buildings that were built downtown with the developers have to set aside a few units in whatever they build that will be more affordable maybe. This is not something that someone can come in and buy cheap and flip. You have to prove you qualify and you have to agree to stay there a period of time. But that, okay, well, you want to build a nice block of homes along this section of East Nashville. To get this, then you have to agree that maybe a couple of those units will be what we quote call affordable housing. Is that something that can be done more?
So inclusionary zoning.
Okay, is that what that's called?
That's what it's called,
okay.
And that's not allowed at this point.
It's not allowed?
No.
Didn't they do it at one time? I thought there were some
tried.
downtown.
There was an effort to do it, and then I think ultimately it was blocked.
Is it because it deterred development, or developers just didn't like it, of course, because it cost them money?
Yeah, developers didn't necessarily like it.
They probably didn't. They lobbied against it, I would think, but I don't.
Right. So I think this goes back a ways, but I believe the council passed it, didn't work.
Okay.
From the standpoint of the legislature getting involved. This is one of those things where we're just not allowed to do it. So the question is, how do we make it work?
Okay, I didn't know that. I remember that.
If we, it's a good issue. People are trying to figure this thing out. We have an affordable housing committee that has been sitting there for 5 years trying to figure this thing out. There's no great answer, so you have to keep trying. And that's why I keep thinking that maybe the right answer is we may just have to get in the affordable housing business. Again, I'll give you another example.
Yeah.
When I first got on the council this last time, I really wanted to know all the vacant metro buildings that we had. And I've got to believe we've got some out there, because I drive by stuff and I'm not sure if the buildings are being
in there, right?
Yeah. And that would include school buildings and other things. Well, if we're not using them, we got to fix them and turn them over and make them into affordable housing. We are, because of the cost of living, and you look around, I know some people say that we're basically similar to other big cities, but I don't know if we're necessarily used to this. It used to be fairly affordable to live here.
Yeah.
And now the prices have just gone out the roof.
It stuns you.
And so we need to figure out, we can either say, okay, we're going to be like other cities and we're just going to, let us deal with it, or we're going to have to figure out a way to get some of this stuff under control.
It was interesting. This past weekend I went to the flea market, and we're going to touch bases on what's happening there with the flea market and the speedway as well as soccer in a bit. We can take some questions on that. Sure. But if you've been over there lately, when you drive up now, you can't go through off of, you get off Nolensville Road and you take a left, but it's closed off because they're beginning to do construction and the new building for the flea market. So you go around the side, really steep road to go up and get around into parking, and there's all these little houses here. And it's amazing. It's like you said. It was there last week, gone, and now there's something new. A lot of these condos, skinny homes, whatever the heck they call it, and then a lot of these, you can tell, older brick homes, really, many of them frankly run down, but now worth a fortune. And the people that are living there, unless they own them, if they were renting them at one point, you just got to figure those people that own that property, they're going to sell those. And before you know it, you're going to have, that's just what it hits home to me, where gentrification is really happening. On one side, and then I just saw these, and I was turning to my wife and go, boy, how long till those are gone?
Well, whole neighborhoods are disappearing.
Yeah,
it just all of a sudden you look at one thing, and then all of a sudden you've got everything torn down. It's amazing. But Nick, it's one of those things where for years we've talked about learn from other places.
Yeah,
learn how other cities, or learn what they did that didn't work. And I'm not sure how well we do that.
I know.
Sometimes.
You got to decide what kind of city you want to be. What kind of city do you want to live in, Jim? Because it's like downtown, we've got that new Virgin Hotel going up. Well, that's right where there were two just wonderful old homes, one of which my wife actually worked in years ago. There was a music magazine out of there, but both of those just got, and I'm sure this Virgin Hotel is great. It's nice, it's big, but whatever. And you could plop me down someplace over there, sometimes blindfolded, and take it off, and I could look around, and I would know if I'm in Dallas, Charlotte, Nashville, parts of downtown Chicago. You can't tell. The identity of the area, and that's okay in some areas maybe. When you feel that way on Music Row, which is one of the things that defines this city, and you could be unblindfolded there and all of a sudden go, where the heck am I? I don't know. Maybe the new people that move here don't give a hoot, but say goodbye to this city's character. Well, it's going fast, and there's good and bad, but our character is disappearing fast.
So it's new Nashville versus old Nashville. We know that. We've talked about it. The question is, how do we try to balance it out? But obviously people are buying property and buying older properties that used to be not worth a lot of money and now are, and people are selling out, and
That's the American way.
That's their right.
They're applying it down. A bunch of them come from outside this area, and they're buying. It's not locals doing this.
So I think somewhere we have to be very careful about where we head and what we do.
Because eventually the worm is going to turn. And we call it the It City. You can put S in front of that at some point if things go south.
Well, yeah, so we got to be very careful.
I'm telling you.
And I understand. I mean, so, the problem is some of it happens without metro government being able to say you can do that or you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you buy the land and it's zoned that way and people can do what they want. The concern, I think, is that at some point we have to preserve part of, or a lot of who we are. I mean, what made the city such a wonderful place to begin with? It's wonderful now, I get that, but it was wonderful back then. And the question is, are we going to get rid of all the stuff that made Nashville such a great place? And I certainly hope not.
Yeah.
I mean, so part of it is making sure that when you're on Music Row, you remember what Music Row stood for.
Maybe you see some of that, yeah.
You still see some of it, or, I don't want it all to go away.
Did you grow up around here?
I grew up in Johnson City.
In Johnson City, you lucky dog.
But I've been here for 40-some years.
For 40-some years. So think about it. I've been here a little over 20, and it's like, boy, just in that last, what was it? The huge explosion of growth over how long? What, last decade?
Last decade.
Man, I think this city's changed more in the last decade than it did in the prior 50, you think?
Well, I remember driving around downtown and going, everybody, at 5 o'clock, everybody locks the door downtown and goes home.
It was dead 20 years ago.
I mean, it was like, this is really interesting that nobody's down here. Now, at 5 o'clock, the doors open and everybody comes downtown.
And that, in a lot of ways, is very nice. I mean, it's not all bad. It's really changed from that regard. You're right. I can remember when I'd get out of work and I'd walk downtown. No traffic, nothing. Everyone was gone. No one was living downtown.
Yeah.
There were very few restaurants open, at night. That was it.
Now, everything's downtown.
Yeah, it is.
Everything's downtown.
All right, we'll take a break. What do you think of all that? The number 737-7587. When we get back, let's touch bases on whether or not NASCAR is really coming to Nashville and what you think of what's been worked out. It seems like, obviously, the first soccer game, obviously the stadium's not done, but they're going to be playing over at Nissan. We'll take that and more calls right after this. Stay with us.